Okay, so thank you all for joining in for this webinar on opportunities to collaborate and invest in Portugal. This webinar would outlay the different investment opportunities in Portugal, and it would be very short. So we are not making this very lengthy. We will talk for maybe around 20 to 25 minutes, and then we are open for question and answers. So please feel free and you can ask as many doubts or questions that you have. My name is Ramchandra Prabhu Salgaonkar. I'm the managing partner for Amaze Warriors Consulting. I am basically from Goa, India, but I'm currently based out in Europe. Let me just set some perspective to this particular discussion. First, I will talk about the trade that happens between India and Portugal. We have done a trade of around USD 1,200 million. So this is not something new, and there has been a trade relation and going back decades in the history. Major exports that are done from India to Portugal include textiles, metals, chemicals, plastics, etc. And we have exports from Portugal happening into India, mainly in terms of paper, paper pulp, wood, cork, optical instrument, etc. We have investments from the either side. So we have a few investors from Portugal who have invested in India in the past. These companies include Vision Box, which is a technology company. We have Port Ind Shoe Accessories, which is a subsidiary of a very big Portugal shoe manufacturer. We have Ifasec, which is a big industrial group in Portugal, and we have the Petrotech Group. We have also had investments from India into Portugal. We have the Aurobindo Pharma, which is a pharmaceutical company. We have a hotel group, the MGM. They have a hotel in Portugal. We have Mahindra and Mahindra. We have the Wipro campus, which was very close to where I used to once reside. That is in Porto. They are present in Tech Maya, TCS, and we of course have our Zomato, which is present in Portugal. There are also joint economic committees that exist at the ministerial level. They are in the field of IT and electronics, in renewable, defense, and agriculture. So this entire ecosystem is present, and we can get help or we can get assistance from this ecosystem. Portugal, however, is a small market, but it could be used as a gateway for the European Union. I would like to have a few thoughts from Mr. Anirudh Dempo, who is the president of Goa State Industry Association. I would request him to talk or to enlighten us with a few thoughts. He holds a degree in finance and economics from the University of Worcester, New York, and I hand it over to him to share a few thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you, Ram. Thank you. Good afternoon to everybody, and good to see the team from Portugal. I think there was some confusion about the time today, but it's good to see everyone gathered on time. Just to introduce myself quickly, I represent the Association of Medium and Small Industry in Manufacturing Industry in Goa. GSI has over 500 active members and is probably the largest conglomeration of industrial associations or industrial body in the state of Goa. We've, over the past, been catalysts for a lot of exchange of ideas between different countries, may it be delegations that we've had from Russia, from Poland, from Britain, Italy, among others. And it is our stated objective to make sure that we can create buyer-seller interactions and strategic partnerships across the globe for our Goan industry. So with a lot of excitement, I look forward to the team from Crowe, headed by Paolo, and to hear the wisdom and the kind of knowledge that we can have today. I'm sure a lot of questions will be answered and a lot of opportunities will be unlocked today. I thank one and all for joining.
Okay, thank you so much, Anirudh. Thanks for the words. Now, I would like to introduce Mr. Paulo Lorosa. He's a managing partner at Crowe Advisory, Portugal. He has extensive experience in many areas of advisory, including corporate finance, mergers and acquisitions, fundraising, valuation, and financial analysis. He has a degree in economics from the University of Porto, postgraduate studies in financial analysis, an MBA and an MSc in management from the Porto Business School. And he has also attended private equity program from the Said Business School, University of Oxford. So thank you so much for your time. And I think a lot of questions will be answered. And I hand it over to you to share a few details on the topic. And also, if you can talk a little bit on the investment opportunities that are there for the Goans in Portugal. Up to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you for inviting us for this session. I hope we can clarify and create some awareness of the opportunities that there's in Portugal for in the investors from Goa that can tap into. In reality, these last years, let's say 10 years, there's been a lot of activity around investments in Portugal. We had a crisis that we started basically in 2008-9, the financial crisis worldwide, and then we had impacted us more in 2010. And then there was some slow down until 2015. And then we started picking up, and a lot of international investors starting to look at Portugal and invest in different areas. Obviously, in real estate, in tourism, and a lot of new entities came to Portugal. The local community of private equity also started to pick up. Until then, there was not so much activity around the private equity, and this has created some awareness and opportunities that in the past the local business companies were not so open for other entities to invest in them and to help them grow, or to simply the buy and sell of business. And I'm talking about this because it's interesting that with this growth of the local private equity, but also all the investments of international private equities, the local Portuguese shareholders and managers are much more open to open the capital of the firms, of the companies, and with minority selling minority stakes, or controlling stakes, or the 100% of the company. So this kind of helps when at this moment, when someone wants to invest, there's more awareness, more information that helps a better flow of the investments that can be made. Also, something that is interesting is specifically there was a scheme here in Portugal for a public scheme of some tax benefits for the companies who invested in R&D, and this created the opportunity for raising funds that would be investing in the companies with R&D. So this also created, there was in the last, to have an idea, last year there was the amount of funds that were raised was around 1 billion euros, and there's about 2 billion euros of funds available in that area to invest in R&D. So this kind of creates a lot of good noise in the market. So there's a lot of activity, a lot of entities trying to invest, a lot of companies opened for investments. When they have some projects to grow, they now look not only to the traditional banking finance, but they also are open for other financial instruments or equity that they can they sell. So this kind of creates a good atmosphere, a good environment for international investors, and we're now talking to go investments into India, to come to Portugal and look for opportunities to buy. Obviously, there's some competition, but nevertheless, specifically what we call the strategic investors, that are companies that have activities in specific areas, not the versus the financial investors that are basically the private equities that we're talking, that they can come to Portugal, and depending on the investment thesis that they have, they want to buy a company here in Portugal because they want to have the production facilities here in Europe or in Portugal. They want to buy a company because they want to have the capability of the distribution here in Portugal. They want to have R&D, for example, here in Portugal. They need presence here in Portugal because any other region, any synergies that they may have for this region. Depending on the thesis that each of you have to invest in Portugal, we can, and now introducing Crowe, we can help you identify the best or some opportunities to look at and to invest. I'd also like to add on, there's like I said, there's the private equity industry, and there's some public grants and also incentives for the private equity entities to raise funds that they must invest in companies. And these funds, these entities, these funds, they need co-investors. Okay, to normally the traditional percentages, these funds invest 70% in the company, but need another 30% of outside investor to invest in that company. So if the investment thesis from you is okay, I would also like to invest in Portugal as kind of a diversification to a more financial alternative, this could be an interesting approach, because you have already someone who has analyzed the company, who has done all the due diligence, all the hard work, and knows the market, and is willing to invest 70% of the money in a certain company. So this could be an easier approach for you to step in and also co-invest in a specific business. So there's lots of alternatives that we can work on. Buy side, we can work on the buy side with you to look for companies. Depends always on what is your goal. Specifically, what is your specific goal to invest here in Portugal? Depending on that, we can work on finding the right opportunities for you. Just to close, in terms of Crowe, Crowe's a global network, and here in Portugal, we have offices in Porto and Lisbon. We have the traditional areas of audit, the typical audit. We have consulting around tax issues, the tax consulting. We have also all the accounting, payroll, all that stuff that we offer. And then within the advisory consulting area, like we say, corporate finance, we have the M&A, evaluation, modeling, financial modeling, all that stuff, but also grants and incentives. There's just to close here, there's other areas, but not to take much more of your time. But there's one area I think it's quite interesting and important to mention. That is the grants and incentives, as you call grants and incentives. There's a lot of programs here in Portugal that is subsidized by the government, local government, or by the European Union. That if companies invest, depending on there are different programs available, and if that there are subsidies granted to the companies who invest in certain projects, internationalization, qualification. There's different programs. And these subsidies and grants can go up to 50% of the investment. So if you invest 10 million euros, 5 million euros is subsidized by the government. Obviously, there's different, like I said, different programs that must be analyzed for specific case by case. But I would just like to mention that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Paulo. And what I could gather from this particular interaction is that there are opportunities for the minor stake as well as 100% in the companies, which you can invest in Portugal, also in terms of R&D, production or distribution. So before I go on to the questions asked by one of the audience member, I have a couple of questions. So is there a very specific investment opportunity that you can just share with us, with very specific, maybe small investment opportunity that you have?
Yes. There's different. We have at the moment, like I said, I think it would be better for them to interact with each of the entities that would like to come to Portugal and trying to understand their thesis. But nevertheless, we have various examples of entities from a company that is a metalworking company that has around 3 million euros of revenue. The main activity accounts for about 90% of the turnover. That's the manufacture of metal grills. I know it's the standard metal and metal accessories to support the industry and construction. The main clients are within the industry in general, the construction companies, building equipment stores. That's the main clients. The EBITDA margins around 23%. It's quite good. With the EBITDA around 600,000 euros. This is one small company in the north of Portugal. One other company, one is more or less the same size, but it's more on the IT company. It's industrial engineering and also technical assistance company that helps the clients with these software, specific software, for example, for quality control of product and process of inspections of the clients. This also has sales around 2.2 million euros and EBIT around 660,000 euros. And then now we have a bigger company that is within the food and distribution. Okay, that has revenues around 22 million euros. It has, let's say, the company offers distribution and wholesale grocery products, and also has like a super cash store. It's in the south of Portugal, and it also has within the transformation and of frozen meat, pork meat in Portugal. So you kind of the black pork, and it transforms that meat and sells it to them in the market. So this one is obviously I can talk with, more about each one of these opportunities. There's other, let's see, other opportunities that we have. For example,
Mr. Paulo, sorry to interrupt, but I did not get what is the investment ticket size. So this is a question by one of the audience members. So in the first case and a second case and a third case, what would be the ticket size of investment?
There's in the majority of these cases, there's not an asking price, direct asking price. For you to have an idea, depending on this kind of touches the valuation issues. If it's a business, a traditional business that doesn't have big growth opportunities, but is growing 6, 7, 8%, 10% a year per year, we may be talking between 5 and 6, 7 times the EBITDA multiple. So if they have 500,000 euros EBITDA, we're talking 2.5 million euros, 3 million euros of ticket. We're excluding eventual debt. We're talking net debt free. Okay. Obviously, if there's debt, we have to subtract that. If there's cash, we have to even add it on. So if you're talking about companies that have a high growth possibilities in place, then probably these multiples are higher because there's much more growth in there. But these companies that I was talking about, you can consider probably between 5 and 7 the EBITDA of a multiple of the EBITDA. So yeah, one we talked about 605,000 EBITDA, the metal grid project we are talking about. The other one is also around. Let's see. Sorry, but it's the same, more or less the same size.
Okay.
600,000, 700,000, more or less that.
Okay. So I have another follow-up question on this. So there's a question asked by Ashley DeCosta. He says the question is, how do we go about? So where can we see the available opportunities in Portugal, and whom do we reach out to? So this is a very, very nice question to have, because how do we come to know? Because even I have been interacting with a lot of people back here in India as well as in Portugal and other European parts. But how do we get this information?
Well, these opportunities that I spoke about, and we have other opportunities. We can share. You can contact us, and we can share the teaser, and you can have a basic understanding of what each company does, the metrics, the revenue, EBITDA, what the number of workers, etc. So you can contact us, and we can send it to you. If you're talking more as globally, in Portugal, where can you find deals? These types of deals normally they're not. The majority of them are not open in the market or available in the market in a website or that you can look at. They are worked by advisors, and these advisors look for the investors. Sometimes these advisors put these opportunities in their website, but some of them don't do that. Obviously, there are some brokerage sites in Portugal that communicate some companies to sell, but that's more normally we don't think that's a very good way to market the companies for different reasons. I'm not going to mention here, but nevertheless, you can look, you can Google the brokerage firms that sell and communicate different types of companies that are on sale.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for answering this question so patiently. I know it's a very difficult question to answer.
Mhm.
So there's a question by Mr. Pankaj Pai Kakode. Possibility of raising debt in Portugal. Is it possible?
Yes. Obviously, the banks, I think it's worldwide, are more conservative, risk averse, and depending on the project that you have, the assets that you have to collateralize, but it is possible to do it. It's not something that is let's say easy. As you can go there, and depends on the company that you're going to buy, depending the assets that these companies have, or the sector of the of where the company works, but it is possible. Okay.
Okay. So I'll just add on to this question. So if an Indian entity takes over a company in Portugal, can that entity raise debt? Will it be the
The
same
Indian,
as a Portugal company raising the debt?
yes, we can have obviously the shares are sold to an Indian company, but the Portuguese company continues and is still in the market and can obviously get finance from the banks. That's normal. That's not an issue.
Okay. Okay.
But
We have one last. Sorry. Please go ahead.
Just saying that if the Indian company comes to Portugal and the Indian company directly wants to get finance, it's also possible, but it's more difficult because there's no history, that the banks don't know them. So it's kind of a more tricky situation to obtain finance, but it's still possible.
Okay. We have another question. Are there any benefits benefits to the businesses and corporates under double taxation avoidance agreement between Portugal and India? So this is something that I know which is there for the individuals. So the individuals working, they are covered under this double taxation avoidance agreement. So is there anything for the companies or corporates which are operating?
Well, I directly, I don't know. I'll have to ask my colleagues that work in tax. When there is an agreement between states, and I imagine, but I don't know, I imagine there's been some interaction between Portugal and India for different reasons. There might be an agreement for that. But I'll check it out with my colleagues and I'll get back to you and then we can answer that question. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I think there is another question / note which I'll read out. So highlights of key due diligence before one looks at buying an equity stake. So I have not followed it well, whether this is a question or just a comment. But can you add something on this, Gaurav?
Yes. We in Portugal, Crowe, we do that. When someone is buying a company, we normally do what is called the due diligence, the financial due diligence, the tax due diligence, the legal due diligence, and other due diligence, for example, IT due diligence, sustainability due diligence. There's a lot of issues that can be looked at. Normally, at least the financial and tax due diligence is made, and also legal, obviously, and we help with that process, and that's normal when someone buys a stake in a company. Normally that is done, is performed.
Okay. I have a small follow-up on this. How is a fee structure of Crowe when they are doing such an activity? And whether the second part of it is slightly different. So in case Crowe identifies an investment to be done in India, so do they engage local agencies to carry out this due diligence or audits?
Okay, if I'll try to answer with in different angles. In terms of due diligence, what is done is depending on the size, the complexity of the company to be bought. If it's a small company, 2-3 million euros of revenue, or it's a bigger company of 30-50 million euros, obviously the price is completely different. Depending also on the sector, the number of people working there, we will be quoting depending on that. Okay, depending on the size of the people, number of years to be performed. If you want to perform the financial due diligence for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Normally the tax due diligence is always performed for 4 years because that's the responsibility of the local authority, tax authority. So they will normally do 4 years of due diligence. And these due diligence also can be, we normally we do a thorough due diligence or a red flag due diligence. A red flag just highlights the main problems that we looked at, but it's to do a red flag for someone who only wants a red flag, they must have some knowledge and more confident on what he's buying, because the work is not performed thoroughly. In terms of, so that will be depending, like I said, for all these factors. In terms of the M&A as a whole, when we have a mandate to sell, okay, for example, these companies that we are talking now, when we send it to you and someone wants to invest, we are not going to charge you nothing, because we have the entity who's paying us is the company that we are selling. Okay, so we have the mandate to sell this company, and they are paying us for the service. On the other way around, when we act as the buy side for you, for example, someone is in Goa who wants to buy a company in Portugal and mandates us to look for a company with certain profile, certain investment thesis, then we normally charge. The structure is we have a retainer, and then we have a success fee. Okay, the retainer is for all the hours we will be investing in terms of producing information, documents that we produce, eventually the evaluation, things like that, and then success fee that typically starts around 5% of the value of the transaction, and it can come down depending on the size of the deal.
Okay. Thank you so much, Paulo, for answering our questions, and I think it was a great session of information to all of us. There are no more questions which are pending. So I would just like to conclude this session. Thank you so much for all the participants, and thank you, Mr. Paulo. The recording of this session will be put up online, so we can go back and we can refer anytime we want. I think I've seen a lot of traction between Goa and Portugal, and I think there will be more interactions and more people wanting to hear more about all these aspects and more discussions going on. So I thank Mr. Dempo, I thank Mr. Paulo, and I think it was a really insightful session for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation, and we are available for answering questions and clarifying whatever you need. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And bye-bye, and have a good day.
Likewise.